to Spirit Switchboard. I am your host, Carrie Lynn Shellhorn, and you are listening to us live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 in the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in beautiful New Orleans. UPRN is always getting new shows. We have some very exciting new shows coming up. So to keep on top of everything that is happening with UPRN, you can head to uprntalkradio.com to find out all of the shows, hosts. You can access all of our archived shows as well too. There's something for everyone with UPRN. It looks like we're having a little bit of trouble with our Facebook pages tonight, so it may not be streaming on Facebook properly. So if you head over to our pages on our channels on YouTube, UFO Paranormal Radio, the Spirit Switchboard with Carrie Lynn Shellhorn, any of those. And we'll see if we can get some of these connected for you. Sorry about that. Sometimes Facebook just doesn't want to play. Look at everybody in the chat. Thank you so much for being here, folks. Oh my goodness. You know what? There's so many people in the chat. I am going to bring our guest out right away. It was so appropriate. It was so appropriate. I'm going to explain all the reasons why this is a magical segment tonight, because all the signs were cosmic to begin with. Just cosmic. So we are going to bring out multidimensional guide Asria Beckham, and we are going to be talking about alien DNA, cosmic lineages, so much to talk about. Please welcome Asria.
Good evening, everyone.
So the email, when the show got set up for me, the timing was 555, and it's my 111th show. So we had all of these like beautiful little synchronicities that were happening leading up to this today. And then on Monday, I did a life between lives regression and had this wild experience as well too. And some aha things, putting some connections together. So I'm just excited that you get to be here and we get to have this conversation.
Oh, I'm very excited too. And I know we spoke about it slightly off air. Mm-hmm. So it was, let's dive into that a little bit more. It's very, very exciting stuff.
It is exciting, and not a lot of people are talking about it. So when we had that conversation, and the ahas came together between the appointment that I had with Marilyn Kaufman at the beginning of the week and having that conversation with you. I don't know. Not that I feel like what I thought I knew nothing. It wasn't incorrect. It wasn't wrong. It's just deeper. It's deeper than what I thought it was. Yeah, my mind's been blown. But I feel much better about it today than I did earlier in the week. Hello, Heidi Gold. Thank you so much for being here. There we go. We have a bit of a delay happening too, folks. So you guys have to be a little patient with things. Cora Cat, hello. Thank you for being here. Shannon Lee, thank you. Laura Lee, thank you very much for popping in and helping me out. I appreciate you so very much. Lois Clark, hello. Thank you for being here. Let's see if this one will come up. Yeah, we have a little bit of a delay. Hello, Dee. Thank you so much for being here. Kate, thank you for being here. There's just so many people. Contessa, Beverly, hello. Thank you for being here. Heather Stewart McLaughlin, thank you. Your experiences with the other side, it started when you were young, did it not? Like, were you having experiences with spirit, or how did that connection start for you? Are you comfortable
very
sharing
much
that?
so. And yeah, no, thank you for asking. It's, for me, the spirit world and the energetic world has always been something that I've been aware of my whole life. I mean, my most known stories when I was sort of 5 and 6 years old, going to my great grandmother's and seeing the spirits all around her place. But I think also at that age, which I'm remembering more and more now, is being in, because I was an only child, kind of like being in my bedroom, but there was always sort of other beings and things around. So that side of life has always been normal to me, well, whatever normal is. But
Right.
so I've always been continually kind of asking the question as to our origins and things like that. But it was only, I think, really about 14 years ago that I really started to experience, say, our star family directly when I got introduced and started having my own experiences and my own sort of visuals. There was one in particular a couple of years ago when I was on a beach on a really, say, significant birthday. And it was quite late at night when I'd had a sort of really nice day during the day and sort of went for a walk on the beach in the evening. So I was in Spain, I believe. And it was like everything else went quiet. And it was like everything else froze. And this ship just appeared above the moon. And that's when you can't explain it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the moon went from a beautiful white color to this golden ball almost. And even when I looked around, it was kind of like everyone else had paused. Even the tides, you could hear like the waves going in and out. I couldn't even hear them anymore. And I was just
Wow.
looking at the moon, and this ship just appeared. It was only for, I believe it was only for a few seconds, but to me it seemed like hours. And that's, I think, the first time I really felt the most strongest connection. I had experiences before that, but that was the time when it really, everything felt very, very real to me. And that was at a time when the work that I was doing was really starting to come out into sort of like the public domain. And that was sort of the time when it's ready to be pushed forward.
Right. Do you feel, I struggle with this week in particular, I've been struggling with the word real. what is real, what isn't real, and it's all real. It's
Yeah.
this experience is real, and what I feel and see dimensionally is real. And it's super fascinating to me again that you said that this experience happened to you in Spain. When I had my experience at the beginning of the week, she did past life so I could get to that death in that past life to get to the in-between place. And then in that section, but where I went was in Spain in the 1500s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then it just went to cosmic beings and all kinds of stuff after that. which was validating in so many different ways, but I find that very interesting. There are so many
Yes, indeed, the link with Spain, very much so.
Yeah, so I wonder what that's about too, but I guess we all find out as it unfolds, right? And I think that's part of it, is trusting as it unfolds. And it's very like what you were doing. I've always found it at the beginning hard to have that tough outer skin when you're stepping out to say this is who I am and what I'm able to do. And was that transition difficult for you as well too, or did you have a good support system through that? I was seeing people when I was little at my grandparents' house as well too, but that was a no-go. Like it was a no-go till I had my own children and they were having their experiences. So it's
Oh,
been,
wow.
especially since starting Spirit Switchboard, which is starting its second year now, the community of people on a different level and who I've been able to connect with has been so good for my spirit. People like you.
Thank you. But yes, certainly, as I was saying, sort of growing up and kind of saying to people that I was having conversations with the little girl in the garden. It's kind of like, but there's no little girl in the garden, and things like that. So it has been a little bit tricky, as probably a lot of the viewers can probably relate to growing up. But with, I said, over the past sort of 25 years plus, I've had the most amazing support team. And I know, like with my great grandmother as well, growing up, that was kind of like my safe haven, because I could then express what I was seeing, who I was seeing, when I was seeing them. Even like
That's
when I was
beautiful.
at school, I was the girl who used to sit in like the side of the playground and talk to the flowers rather than try and make friends, because I could see the elementals around all the plants.
Oh, that's
Um,
beautiful.
and things like that. So, but no, I think from the past few years, the support network has been fantastic, and just some amazing mentors and throughout all of this, because as I always say, it's kind of like the therapist needs the therapist. So it's always good to have those people to bounce ideas off, and also to gain further knowledge, because even though we're all on our own journeys, I mean, I'm still learning all the time.
Yes,
And I
yes,
think that is absolutely key, even though with all the work that I'm doing, I think that is absolutely key, is that you never
yeah.
stop learning.
No, and digging deeper. That's what I'm discovering too. Like just another layer of learning and continuously elevating. Do you feel that and what you do is so specific and it makes sense to me. Like if so many people are looking for whole healing. So if we're looking at holistic healing and whole healing, so all aspects in order to be consciously aware and to vibrationally evolve, how does it include understanding your cosmic lineage and alien DNA? And how do you define that? Is it physical, energetic? Can you share your thoughts about that?
Yes, certainly. So the work that I've been doing over the past 5 years really started in a place of, again, as we were saying, discovery. It was asking the questions to my guides and the team of beings that I work with. Is kind of like, okay, well, we have our physical ancestry lineage. So where you can say, okay, well, I'm X percentage Irish or Scottish or whatever the case may be. But I was like, energetically, we must be made up of more. And that's when I started asking the questions and started going on an even deeper journey, as you were putting it earlier. And that's when the information was being transmitted down. I wouldn't necessarily channeled, and indeed sort of downloaded bits and pieces over those 5 years. And that's when I kind of got to a point of identifying, and if I can show the viewers, some people may know this as the unicorn, but it's
Yes.
as the unifier. So it's a beautiful piece of selenite crystal, for those who are listening, and it's like a unicorn horn with a silver plate on the top and the copper string. So this was a tool that I was given through the downloads in order to understand, because one of the things that I was always doing was dowsing, like with pendulums. And I picked up my first pendulum when I was probably about 12 years old, and I'm not going to say how long ago that was. But certainly it was an instrument that or a tool that I was quite familiar with. And with that, you go into, you start linking into the person's energy field and picking up on all those different frequencies of all those different types of beings. And what that does, in order to answer that question, Carolyn, is it's just another piece of that puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
It's another piece that makes us up.
Yeah.
It's another piece to say, okay, well, where do my abilities come from? Where does my behaviors come from? Why am I able to have all these particular abilities? And because we do have those frequencies within us of all of our past life beings who we've had connections with and who we've indeed been in other star systems that we've brought along with us. So with the unifier, I'm able to, this is the start of the journey. Obviously, it has progressed over time, is for the selenite to pick up those frequencies, because off-world selenite's used as though we use a knife and a fork now. It's used quite openly as a tool off-world. So the selenite is used as a little bit of a magnifying glass. So when I tune into a person's energy field, it will move in a particular way, depending on what frequency of that being is there. And now I always thought, that's not enough. How can just moving that be enough for me to say that being's in there? So then the second thing was working with the team of scholars and masters. So it's a team of about probably looking around 50 different races of beings. So if that frequency is then identified, to me, that being will then step forward. But then I was like, that's all well and good, but still wanting that little bit more, coming from the kind of project management background. I was like, I need that kind of third indication. Right. And then it was the feeling that I get. So it's a triangulated approach is what it started off at. Right. So that would give me the three ticks, if you like, to say that is the frequency of that being within that person's energy field. So, for example, if it's a feline, all the hairs on my body kind of tingle. If it's a reptilian, for example, I go cold. If it's, there's many that I can go through. But again, in order to answer the question, is in regards to how does that then help the individual? From what I've been hearing from clients, is it's more around the confirmation of, yes, that's why I feel a bit different, or yes, I've always been like that and that is why, or yes, I thought I had that ability, now I know I can pull upon those energies and those frequencies in order to support my journey. And that was only kind of step number one.
It would give them clarity and confidence in exploring more and opening up more. Kate is asking if there was any chance you'll share with us what your alien DNA cosmic lineage is.
Oh, very lovely.
And also question. Sharing, I bet your cosmic ancestors are so pleased that you're helping humanity with your wonderful gifts. And we're very grateful and blessed that you are here sharing with us.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Kate. So my main one is feline. So I've been working quite closely with the felines now for quite some time. So for me, that's the That's my absolute dominant. Sorry, was there a second part to that question?
It was sharing. She was expressing her gratitude. So, and that your cosmic ancestors are probably very pleased with the way that you're helping humanity with the gifts that you have. How did knowing that change your approach with what you were doing? Did it help you open up on a deeper level? How did knowing your cosmic lineage shift things for you?
Oh, tremendously. Absolutely. It was for me, it was confirmation. It was confirmation around, I mean, I'm a Leo as well. So when you start putting all the tiny little bits together, I mean, I don't really know astrology, but I was told that with in astrology as well, it's very much towards the felines. But to me, that how my behaviors, the way I interact with people, the way I move about in everyday life is very much within those abilities. Again, like the empathic, the caring, etc. But I think later on, as I've moved forward and kind of understood the feline race a little bit more, is being able again to bring some of those abilities forward in regards to connecting with others and connecting with people.
That's amazing. So, Faith Malifi, I appreciate that you are seeing people in spirit. We are not giving readings in that way, like mediumship readings this evening during the show. But I appreciate you being here, and maybe part of what you're needing you will hear through our conversation as well too. Beverly and Kate, thank you very much for the hair comments. And honestly, I've cut my own hair forever because that was my full-time job prior to this. Like that's what I did before was hair. So yeah. Laura Lee is asking, how can someone then utilize the knowledge of their own off-world DNA as well as further apply it to their life and their life's work?
Oh, thank you very much. That's a wonderful question. So what I've been hearing from a number of my clients, looking at, depending on who their DNA is, as I said, there's been a lot of clarity around the likes and the dislikes, but especially in this time of ascension and awakening, it's a way for people to reconnect, because it's kind of like when we speak about our guides and our spirit guides, sometimes we don't necessarily get names, but knowing the frequency that you hold within you is then connecting with the beings that are walking next to you.
Yeah.
So
I
even though you
appreciate that
don't
so much.
necessarily have a name.
I appreciate that so much. Yes. I that's how I teach as well too. You're going to know who you are connecting with in spirit, whether it's loved ones, guides, elementals, because they have their own, we each have our own individual frequency, unique to ourselves. And so we know who we are connecting in with based on the frequency. So the more that you lean in and let go of the labels, because the labels can be, you can get stuck and rigid if you hang on to the labels too much. Laura Lee's saying, thank you for answering the question. Hello to everybody that's just joining in the chat. The chat is just going like crazy. So if I've missed you, please know that I've noticed you in the chat and I appreciate you being here. And Kate, I'm going to get to your question as well too. Do each of the different cosmic lineages that you tap into have individual unique traits? So
Yes.
so you would see that with each person as they discovered their lineage, those specific traits to that cosmic family grouping, I guess. I don't know how to.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's that particular race or species. So when you're looking at, say, like the Lemurians or the Pleiadians, or as that wonderful question from Laura Lee just now around asking me what mine is with the felines. With the felines, they are quite a nurturing. But just to take it that one step further, it was when you're then looking at, it's kind of like when people are able to then pull, as I said, pull on those abilities, pull on those strengths. So for an example, a client of mine the other day had more kind of like an amphibian type being within there, and they said, well, that's fantastic, because I mean, they've got such tremendous sight. They're able, where human beings don't necessarily like change, they love change. And with amphibians, it's great because they go from in the water and different types of services. Another one, for an example, would be I had a beautiful lady the other day who, and this was just the most incredible thing, and I never even thought in a million years that I would have this come through as a DNA, and it was the most beautiful. There was 2 mermaids. So mermaids are predominantly from Lemuria and Sirius B, because Sirius B is a very water-based planet. And not only did she have the most amazing voice, because again, if you look at some of the mermaids back in history, they were the ones who were, obviously, if you're looking at all the old tales within
like a
the
siren,
sea, bringing those sailors in. But the other thing is she was an Olympic swimmer in her youth. You couldn't make it up. So when I start these sessions, I ask 3 questions: your full name, your date of birth, and where you were born, where you came in on this planet. That is it. The rest is your approval to be able to read you, because again, we go into that energy field. So before we do any work at all, it's that acceptance for me to actually go in and have a look around.
So that's very similar to astrology, right? Asking where you were born and the date. So in astrology, we have our sun sign, our ascendant, and our moon sign. So does the same thing happen if we're looking at our cosmic lineage or alien DNA? Is there more than one DNA lineage attached to us? Could we have 2 or 3? Is one more dominant? Can they be opposites, or do they tend to, from your experience, mesh? Oh, I guess that's kind of what you were asking too. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's almost, if you're looking over time, you've picked up these frequencies over time. So yes, you can actually have more than one dominant DNA sitting in there. So, and it's within this lifetime, which are the DNA strands that you've actually decided to start working with and working on. So, like, for an example, you can have 2 dominant DNAs, but then a couple of what we call detected. So the analogy that I like to give, and you might like this one because I'm kind of referring back to food. So it's kind of like a sweetie jar. If you imagine yourself as like a big sweetie jar, and I'm going in to say, right, how many red jelly beans can I find? How many yellow jelly beans can I find? And how many green jelly beans can I find? And how many of each of those have I got? So how is, like, the green jelly beans, for example, the most I've got, and then the green ones might be the Lemurians, and so on and so forth. So you're breaking it down that way. So yes, you can very much have more than one dominant DNA. And again, if, for example, you have two and you'd prefer to work more with, say, like you had like Lemurian and feline, you could then start utilizing the abilities of both. But one really good part of that question that you mentioned there, Caroline, is around if you do have two corresponding. So one of the things that we've really found out within this work is that if you have, for example, an avian and then an amphibian, those are two different beings from two different worlds. You've got one who's very much open to the air and the sky and very much of quite a light being, and then you've got the other one who is very much a water-based being. So if you're then looking at a human, so you've got two very, very different frequencies, and then you've got the human being in between. And that is where, and this is for myself included, is where we get a lot of these sort of people who are neurodiverse, because you get those sensitive and those different sensitivities.
Right.
I'm not saying that's an exact science, but it is from the clients who I've been seeing over the past few years. There are these similarities that we're starting to pick up with those different dominant DNAs.
So do you feel intent makes a difference as well too? So someone has their session and you've helped open up that connection for them. Do they need to have that intention to open up further? Does that family or soul group come in to work with them to help them move forward? Does can they go, yep, nope, tapping out, that's not what I wanted to hear? What happens from that point?
All free will. Yeah, it's all free will. Everything is all based on free will. If there is something that you I said, once you've actually found out to say, okay, and this is what I was saying about maybe having the two different dominant DNAs,
right.
You can then choose to maybe focus on the abilities and the behaviors of one. That is free will. Absolutely.
So our star family is waiting for us to say, yep, I'm ready. Come on in and help me. And they support us through that ascension process.
Yeah.
Once we give permission.
100%. Yeah. It's free will.
I always
and that's the same as you were saying earlier with your guides. Sorry.
Yeah. I always add with grace and ease and thank you very much, because I've tried the fast forward catapulting method. I highly don't recommend. It leaves you in a snotty sort of ugly mess. It's quite uncomfortable.
Not good. Not good.
No. No. Okay, there was a sorry folks, you're asking wonderful questions and I appreciate them. I'm scrolling to make sure that I'm getting to some of them. Beverly had asked, can everyone remember? Can everyone access their star frequency, their star family frequency?
Yes. Yeah, everyone can. Because again, we're basing that on free will, and with, say, somebody like myself being able to, I said, identify that kind of it's kind of like giving you a bit of a shortcut. It's giving you a bit of a shortcut to say, right, okay, that is the dominant DNA, and if it feels right to you and if it aligns with you, and that's the most important, and that is the most rewarding bit of the work that I do, is when that person says, that's me, that's what I do, that's how I feel, that's how I've been acting my whole life.
So many people need to feel seen and heard.
Yes.
And that's such a big part of it. Do you find, so very similar to astrology, that because you've been doing this for so long now, and there has been a repetition, and I'm sure that there's new races that come forward as well too, like new beings that you have maybe not connected with before. But when you're out in the public, do you like, I can spot a Leo usually, or I can spot a Scorpio faster than I can spot a Leo, and I'm a Leo. But I can find, especially Scorpio men, it's like there's something, this little GPS thing inside that goes, here they are.
I love that.
So with cosmic DNA and our alien DNA and our cosmic lineage, and you're recognizing with so many, can you recognize it without tapping into it now? Can you recognize certain traits with people and go, I betcha if we were doing a session, I would find this with that person? Do you know what I mean?
There are some physical characteristics, yes.
Interesting. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Can people have that fast awakening with it? Like, have you met people who've had an experience that opened it up without a gentle push from you, where it was coming to you because they've had an experience where they just needed you tapping in as validating, but they've had an experience already that was opening them up or awakening them to?
Yes, I mean, a few of my clients have sort of come, and I do ask the question of, is there what are you actually starting to feel? So when people when clients do come, there is kind of like that level of understanding first. That's why then having that final confirmation is that, yes, I thought I knew it. I mean, a really amazing example the other day. Had this beautiful lady from Canada, and everyone had been saying, like when she'd gone for other readings and things her whole life, oh no, she's Pleiadian. But she's like, that never resonated.
Yeah,
they were picking up on that energy,
trust
that frequency.
We need to trust when something doesn't resonate. We need to trust it.
Yeah, but this is the most exciting bit for her and for me, in all honesty, is that, and I was so blessed that I could actually provide this confirmation, because one of the portions of this the work that I'm starting to do is we are starting to go deeper and deeper. And with this particular client, when I was doing the reading and certainly providing the report and the output of all that information that was coming down, so not only the frequencies that we're getting now, but we're going even deeper, and sometimes even getting some images of where we have been before. But let me just dial back a second. Is that actually she was an Andromedan, but she'd been working with some in the galactic disputes, like some of the wars. She had actually been working with the Pleiadians. So that's where that energy and that's where that frequency had come from. So yes, people were absolutely right. There was that frequency and that within her energy field of Pleiadian, but that was not her. That was not the overall frequency within her being. And I was able to, and it was one of the most amazing sessions. And we're having more and more like these at the moment, where I was shown where she was in, I think it was the Orion Wars. I can't say it precisely, but she was an Andromedan, and she was working with the Pleiadians in order to support the younger people in her crew, because I think she was like a captain or something like that. And she said, funnily enough, the lady that she's working with, because she looks after children and things like that, has already said that she was Pleiadian. So it's potentially that they did have that link at some point in a past life, but we didn't quite go down that point. The main thing is that it was final absolute confirmation for her that yes, everyone's been saying that she's Pleiadian, but she never felt it. As soon as she read more about the Andromedan, she went, by Jove, she's got it,
Right.
type of scenario.
And I just want to come back to, at the same time, in the people that she had been seeing before, again, not about the right or wrong, where their level of experience brought them to the information that needed to come to the best they could with what they know how to do, to tap into. So they get this far, and they were getting accurate information. It just not having that muscle built enough to dig deeper past, we're getting Pleiadian, but there's also this to it. Do you feel that because there's more of an awakening now, maybe the encouragement for people to open more to that, to dig deeper, like is there, which would be good. I always feel like I'm going to step in a big pile of poo when I start talking about, like, we all need to learn and grow. The more we learn and grow, the stronger the muscle we can dig deeper for all of us, right? Like, it benefits everyone when we continue to learn and grow.
Yeah. And also on that point as well, if we look at where are the energies of the planet at the moment, and how the energies and how the frequency is changing, not only off-world with some of the shoots from the sun at the moment, those solar flares, is having a very, very big impact energetically on our planet. So it's building up those frequencies, and where we're organic matter, that is having a ripple effect on us as well. So where you were saying, can we then start accessing all this information? Yes, I think we're at a point now on the planet with everything that's happening that, as you said, we're growing, we're progressing, but most importantly, our energies and our frequencies are changing, and also they're starting to align as well. That's why these connections with the frequencies within us, the frequencies from our soul families, are starting to link up, because the actual energy and frequency of where we are on this planet is also supporting that.
Yeah. And showing ourselves grace. Like, we need to have that pause in order to integrate those frequencies, so honoring if we are tired, we're needing to rest, or if we're dizzy, we need to ground, or staying hydrated, those things, as we are integrating those frequencies. Contessa Martin, thank you so much for being here. Everyone that's Mary Jones, Mort Ali, thank you for being here. I know that I've missed people, but I appreciate that you're here, and I'm trying to get to everybody. Contessa Martin, coming back to the mermaid comments that you had shared, Contessa is asking, does this mean that the mermaids on Earth come from a different planet?
Yes.
Planet or dimension? Or is both?
Star system.
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. I'm just going to scroll. Oh, I love that Oracle of Delphi. Look at. Thank you for sharing that. And are there videos of you singing where we all get to have that pleasure of hearing you sing as well too? Or is that a sing in the car kind of thing?
Good question.
Michelle Wilfong, thank you so much. Hello, Mish. Mish is here from Australia. Thank you for the question. Mort is asking, can a past life alien DNA come through to the present?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, no, thank you for the question. That really kind of brings together the work I'm doing, because we are talking about the DNA frequencies that we've been picking up through our past lives. And what we're doing is we're tuning into the most relevant now. So, for example, we do have our support team that have supported us through lifetimes on this planet. So yes, they absolutely have traveled with us and are a part of our frequency. So when I go in and see what those dominant ones are, it is going back through all those past lives, similar to the client who I was just mentioning, and that was a past life off world.
So would our family that we have here, that we were born into here, have similar alien DNA lineage as well too? Like, would we have been connected that way as well too?
That is a very,
Like,
very good. That is a very, very good question, and something that I'm very looking into at the moment. I have not had, and this is absolute truth, the opportunity to have a look at a family. I think I've had a look at a
okay,
mother and a daughter,
I'm
and it was
signing
very,
up my
very
sister.
similar. But I haven't had, in all honesty, with all the clients that I've had, there hasn't really been a whole family. So I would absolutely
I'm
love
signing up my
to have
sister
that
and I.
opportunity. Yeah.
I'm signing
It
us
is
up.
likely. It is likely because when we're looking at families,
Yeah.
you can all come from a soul family, but that
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily mean you have the same DNA. But no, I must absolutely
I'm
confess
even
I
going
have not
to
had that
sign my brother up.
opportunity
I'm even going to sign
yet.
my brother up. We had this experience last summer. And I read Messengers by Mike Cleland, and it's about owls and the connection with owls to aliens. And
Beautiful.
I had this memory. So I texted my siblings and I said, do you guys remember the owls when we were younger? And then my brother is talking about the lights and the craft that he saw behind the barn. And my sister said, yes, this is what happened when we had this experience. And then we asked my mom, and she's like, that never happened. Like, oh, yes, it did. All of us are remembering, but my mom has no memory of the weirdness that happened with these owls, and lots of time, some memory stuff. So yeah, I'm going to sign my siblings and I are going to do this, and we're going to see what happens.
Oh, that's very exciting.
I'm going to
Very,
make this
very
happen.
exciting. Yes,
Yeah, my sister's
definitely.
very
Let's
used
make
to
it
me
happen.
saying, hey, we're going to do this. Denise Mitz is asking, because dragons are a lot in conversation right now as well too. So do you have dragon energy show up during sessions?
Oh, I would really thank you so very much, Denise. I'd very much like to share with the listeners the most amazing reading I've done, probably a good 2 or 3 months. Well, no, probably a bit longer than 2 or 3 months ago now. Dragons, there is obviously the understanding there that they do support us when our soul is being brought down, and they wind themselves around our heart. But this particular reading that I done was probably one of the best ones I've done. It was when I was saying before around, you have the movement of the unifier, you have the feeling within myself, but all of my guides were telling me, because I obviously go into a meditative state, and all they kept telling me is look up. Anyway, so obviously my eyes are closed, but I was looked up, and there was, like the chin under a dragon. That's all I could see, covering the whole of my ceiling, and it was pure white.
Oh,
it was absolutely beautiful, and I never thought in a million years that I would get a dragon DNA. I was looking at Pleiadians, looking at Venusians, and the rest of it, and I had to double check: was it a protector, was it a guide, or is it a DNA? And for this particular lady, it was all three. The frequency and the energy and the connection with this particular person was so intense, and ever since I passed on those messages, and indeed a couple of other messages that was coming from that dragon. It actually turns out that it was a earth-based dragon, because our other dominant DNA was elementals, which made sense.
Right.
So yes, we are very much having dragons coming through. It was a shock for me in regards to the DNA. But I think ever since then, there have been at least another 3 people that have had direct dragon DNA. I think one was an earth dragon, one was two were an earth dragon, and I think one was a celestial dragon. But yeah, we can then look at obviously the dragons that do help our souls down. But
it
was one of the best ones I've ever done. It was incredible.
In the early spring, when I teach connecting with your guides, when I teach that class, I've always called it "Who's Your Bob," right? It's always "Who's Your Bob," and I taught the class this time around as "Who's Your Off-World Bob? Who's your otherworldly Bob?" To really make people move past just past life or family or angels. People so very like, this is, all they knew. And I'm like, we're all born with mermaid guides and dragon guides and earth, air, water, fire, elementals, all of those. And so it was eye-opening for the people that attended that class and much more open to those experiences now.
Yeah, and I did just notice it in the comments that Beverly made around, they are now appearing more.
They are.
Dragons are very much starting to appear more, not only from a like more of the bones and that being discovered. We shared earlier on a previous show, there's a forest quite close to where I live, and there was this mound in the middle of the forest. I mean, I've been going there for 5 years and I've never seen it. And then when we took a walk there one day, I could see this mound. And remember, when you go for a walk in the forest, it's more around how you feel. And when you actually feel and start talking with the elementals, take lots of pictures, because the cameras are absolutely key. They pick up more than our eyes can. And I will share with you guys at some point. One of them was a beautiful dragon eye right in the middle of the woods.
Oh,
so they are very much starting to show themselves more. So thank you for asking that question. I could talk about dragons all day. It's wonderful.
I love that. So I was going to mention that. So yes, is this the name that you prefer? I want to make sure that I'm doing this right, because in my head I still have Lady D, but I want to make sure that I do it correctly. Is coming on Spirit Switchboard in August, and I will remember this. Yes,
I'll remind her too.
And we are very excited. It's in the chat. So are we allowed to say it out? Are we allowed to? It's in the chat though. So are we allowed to talk about it? Then one of the new shows that are coming on our network. It's up. Sorry, I'm so far behind on these. I adore dragons. I think we all do. I love connecting with my dragon guide. So many photos of, you were with Lady D when you saw one in the woods. How amazing.
Yeah, no, it's when Delphi came over and we went to GSIG in the UK, so the Galactic Spiritual Informers conference that was held down in Eastbourne, which was the most amazing weekend, where we actually saw some of our star family in the sky, because Elena Denan and JP welcomed welcomed them in. But I was lucky enough to said take D for a walk in our local woods. As I said, that I'd been walking for about 5 years, and I'd never seen this huge mound right in the middle of the forest. And we said, let's go and take a look. So I never remember seeing that there. And anyway, we took our shoes and socks off, and I hope I'm okay telling this story. But we took our shoes and socks off, because we thought there's something under here, and we just wanted to feel that energy, feel that vibration. And it was very, very different. And as I was saying before, one of the things we then done was then started taking more photographs. We said we can feel this amazing energy, but we couldn't quite figure out what it was. And we stayed there for some time, kind of like walking up and down. And it was only when we got back and really looked at the photographs that we saw this. Well, we saw many, many things in the photographs. Lots of fairies, lots of other small dragons, lots more of the elementals. But it was that dragon in that particular area of the forest that we saw together, which was magical.
There's a continuation with that question, and she's asking if they're linked with ETs.
Yes. Yeah, well, they're multidimensional beings. So, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Ward is sharing, I'm often paralyzed in sleep and hear these beings around me in a spaceship. Sounds weird. Ooh. But I'm also blind when I am there. That sounds like an intense experience.
That does sound very intense. I'm paralyzed. Is that maybe like is this a regular occurrence, or it'd be interesting to, find out a little bit more.
Okay, I'm assuming that it's okay for me to share because you guys were talking about it in the chat. So if I need to ask for forgiveness instead of permission. Beverly Rhodes has joined our UPRN family, and her show will start June 18th, Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern. True crime with a twist. And we are all very thrilled to have her join our UPRN network.
It's going to be very exciting.
Be a blast. I'm so excited. It happened often, but now is a long time ago, they shared, sorry. There was a question, I believe it was Tia that asked if you are allowed to share if there's a celebrity that you have tapped into their DNA lineage for them, if you are allowed to share that experience.
Celebrity. So we were looking on previous shows to have a look at different celebrities, but remember that was only very much on a high level, because obviously we do not have any approval or acceptances to go into their energy. So it was very much looking with the unifier at a high level to see which ones we were picking up. So just to kind of get an understanding of what's happening in Hollyweird, as we like to call it at the moment, as to what's happening across the board, and kind of what are the energies and what are the frequencies within kind of like that celebrity world, and sort of who's who in the zoo, as I like to call it.
That's so funny. Sorry, that was just because we were talking about dragons as well too. So we can come back to this if you would like. Oh, she was asking, Mish was asking if the queen had her own dragon. Did the queen have a dragon?
That is a very, very interesting question. We all have our own. So I would say that's a yes, but I could go down a very different very different route on that one, but I'm just going to say yes for now.
Right. Because then we have to talk about aliens in a different way.
Yes, the slightly more dark ones. Yes.
Yes. Let's shift quickly. Differences between starseeds and hybrids. Hybrid alien.
Now that's
human
okay. Alien. Well, that really, we're looking at a deeper question. So if we're looking at star seeds, okay, star seeds really only started coming down to Earth in the 1940s, because it really followed a nuclear bomb that went off, and our galactic family decided that actually, you know what, this planet needs a little bit of TLC. We need to actually start protecting them. Otherwise, if our planet was to then blow up, that will have a repercussion within the galaxies. So I did make a note, because I can never remember the full list. So I'm just having a look here around. So in the 1940s, you had the early star seeds. Was it the 1970s? You had the indigo ones. So it's the star lineages. So if we're looking at the root races that were here first, they then decided to leave, and then we kind of, as the human race, were left to our own devices to a point. Remember, I'm only talking on a very, very broad overall level at the moment. So, and in the 1940s, when we started kind of messing around with all that nuclear stuff, they kind of decided, actually, we need to, as I said, give this planet a bit of TLC. And then that's what started the ball rolling with the star seeds coming down. So you had the indigos in the 70s. You had the crystal children in about the 1990s to 2000s. The rainbow ones, and that's when it starts really getting very interesting. And I'll come on to the hybrid bit in a second. Because with the rainbow children, they're 2000 to 2015. And that's when the beings really started raising the frequencies of the earth, with all of these new beings and all of these new energies coming onto the planet. We then were looking at the diamond ones, which surprisingly, or not surprisingly, was around 2012 to 2020. And they started bringing in some of these new earth codes. And then, to answer your question, the hybrids are really from around 2020 and are still coming down. So they're really a mixture of the beings and the star seeds and the DNA, because they are an interstellar blend, in order, again, like all of these other star seed levels that have been coming through since the 1940s, are here for a particular mission. So where I'm talking about the hybrids, as I said, it's the interstellar blend of those DNAs. But I just want to raise another question, really, is that, we were saying earlier with the work that I'm doing that we've got the dominant DNAs, and then we've got the detected. You could actually say that all of us are our own hybrids in one way. So it's the hybridization of the human being with all these different frequencies in us. Sorry, not them. I can see who I'm listening to now, but yes, okay. So I hope that answers the question.
Contessa was just asking if you could come back to who were the 1960s children.
Yep, and I'm going to refer back to my list because I don't know it off the top of my head. So I would say that would be the early star seeds. So that would be 1940s to the 1970s. So they were the original star seed race.
And
star seeds, sorry.
I mean, our purpose is to remember our light, like to stand in our light and anchor it to help raise that frequency, right? And it's, if we all do it, it eases up for some of us that are trying to do it for others. There was a question up here that I want to I just want to bring this comment up. Thank you so much, Beverly, for sharing your wisdom with us. And I appreciate you so very much. Ward, if you are still here, I'm sorry that I'm not remembering the second part to your name. Beverly's comment is responding to your experience. So hopefully this information resonates and you can carry that with you. Off-world blindness is a requirement to bypass the sight and move through the heart, mind, information to perceive other worlds.
Oh.
Sensory. Using all our senses in different ways, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
That's
you
wonderful.
guys in the comments. You guys are very good for my spirit today. Thank you. Asria is amazing. I 100% agree. Yes, I agree. We are all adoring Asria and her knowledge, and we are blessed that she's here sharing. Oh, Mary, I'm an original starseed, born in 54, galactic mutt.
I think Mary, I've yes heard of Mary before. That galactic mutt. I really need to get that like put on a t-shirt or something. I love that because yeah, we are a mixture. Yeah, I'll thank you for reminding me of that phrase, Mary. That's fantastic. Galactic mutt makes me laugh every time.
Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure I get to all of these. Exactly, Tia. We need to remember who we are and why we decided to Gaia.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
How does remembering our alien DNA influence, help, spark our intuitive abilities? Does it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Our consciousness, or our spiritual evolvement? How does that play into our growth that way?
Again, I think when you very nicely put it earlier, Caroline, around it's pulling on those abilities. It's being able. I'm one of the things is like with remote viewing. If you believe you can remote view, you can. So again, and it's bringing in that free will element. So when people, for me, certainly, just taking a little bit of a step back there, is when I started connecting with my off-world family, and as I said, the feline within me, it felt right. When everything in this world is going on and you feel very, very disconnected, that is the one thing within you. Because a lot of people look at things externally, when at the moment, I think it's absolutely key. And what I'm hearing from my clients is that, yes, there's all of this information, all of this knowledge, but it's actually how it feels within, and when it aligns with you, and when it feels right with you. And then when it feels right, you're able to then tune into those frequencies and pull on those frequencies and pull on those energies and pull on those abilities. And that's when we will then start remembering, because it starts that energy flow. It's a little bit like light language. You had the beautiful Selma on a few weeks ago. And again, it's that remembering the language of the soul. This is another way of remembering the who you are. It's remembering who and what you're connected to. And then that's when your energy will then start to resonate in a different way. I mean, one of the ladies who I saw, it was a chap actually, a couple of weeks ago. He said, "Oh, I've been struggling with my psychic abilities. I know I can. I really know I can." And I can't remember the being that he was connected to. I think it was the Lemurians. And I got a message off him the other day saying, just started working. He said, yes, because you were tuning into you, you were remembering you, and you know that there is more that you can be pulling on and pulling down. Hope that answers the question.
Yeah. I feel too when you are tapping into all of those senses, whether multidimensional in all those forms, those different frequencies, it's you have confidence in the choices that you make. You feel okay if you are going left and everybody else is going right, because you are honoring your path. You are more truthful to who your authentic self is. Even if there is, you're on your own, and it's truthful to you, you have confidence in those decisions and the choices that you're making. And you are very aware that all of your thoughts, words, deeds, and actions matter and connect to everyone around you. So you're much more careful with your choices and the things that you say and do. So I think all of that also matters. And I'm just realizing our time. So hello, Akwana. Thank you so much for being here. That I haven't done the station ID. So we're just going to pause just for one really quick second while I do the station ID. And I'm still getting it in there, even though it's a wee bit late, but enough that I'm not going to get in trouble. So if you are just joining us now, thank you so much for being here. You are listening to Spirit Switchboard. I am your host, Carrie Lynn Shellhorn, and you are listening to us live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 in the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in beautiful New Orleans. If you are enjoying the show, please hit subscribe on the Spirit Switchboard channel. I would greatly appreciate that. And please check out all of our shows on the uprntalkradio.com website. You'll see all of our hosts and shows, and we have shows for everybody and everything. We have so many new shows that are coming to the network as well too, including Beverly Roads coming on Wednesdays, June 18th at 4 p.m. Eastern with True Crime with a Twist, which we are all very excited about. Our guest today is Asria Beckham. And we are talking about cosmic lineage and alien DNA. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
It's exciting. We do have the images that you sent. I don't know when you feel you would like to chat about that, but I can bring them up whenever you are ready to share.
Yes, certainly.
Okay.
If you wanted to bring the first one up, the PDF, we can go into that one if you wish.
Okay.
Because I think that will really follow on from the question. Excuse me.
Okay.
The question you were asking earlier around the physical characteristics. Excuse me. So one of the things that we're identifying through, or that is becoming more and more apparent, is when we look at the different planets and star systems that these beings are from, and how people react to certain things, certain environments on this planet even. And I wanted to bring up these, I don't know, I can't remember if there was 3 or 4 that I put on the sheet, beings that we have identified through this work. Because they are quite unique in the planets and the places that they live, and they're not necessarily ones, beings that are very, very well known. You will please excuse my interpretation. This is AI generated images that I've put together based on the images of the beings that I've seen. So if people have a slightly different interpretation, I said this is just me working with AI, and I'm still kind of getting to grips with this whole kind of technology thing. Oh, I only put 3 on there, not 4. Okay, fantastic. So these are 3 beings that I've discovered during this DNA, which as I said aren't necessarily your main root races, for an example. I'll go through the main two on this page, and I'll try and give the as best description as I can. So I'm going to start with the bills. So the bills is the image at the top. So this is a very dark skin. It's not a reptilian, not a Draco, even though it's got that quite harsh skin. They can come through as very a lot darker. They are quite a stocky build. But with these guys, is one of the reasons their skin is particularly dark is on their planet, their sun is very, very strong. It's not the same as our sun. The radiation from the sun is very, very different. They are more of a warrior race. That is their main purpose. So it was a gentleman who I discovered the bills through. And I don't know anything about the people before they come to me. And his main career was in the army. And he now continues
Interesting.
train.
Love that.
Yeah, he then continues to train in the army. And he said that to him is life. It's never been any different, felt any different. And even though he was from the UK originally, he likes being in places like, I can't remember exactly. So if you're watching, please excuse me. But like places, say like Dubai and things like that, that are a warmer climate. So this is just an example of some of the similarities that we're seeing with the beings, the DNA, and the human being. Another one would be the Nahas. So the Nahas are the ones at the bottom. This isn't quite the image that I was hoping for. One of the main distinctive features is that they have very long noses right in the middle, kind of like a tube up and a tube down type of thing. And one of the reasons, again, from a similar type of planet where it's just desert, and they live predominantly slightly under the ground. And one of the reasons why they have the two different noses, or two different nostrils, sorry, I beg your pardon, is because when they breathe, they filter. I'm going to call it sand. It's probably not sand, but in our human understanding and our conscious understanding, is that's when they filter through the sand in order to breathe. So one of the lady who I discovered this being through, not only did she have amazing, I think I might have mentioned this earlier, sight, because as you can see, they've got very big eyes, but they have, like I can't think of the animal who can sort of change their eyes so they can sort of look behind them. So they're always looking out for prey, because they are preyed on as well. But the main thing was the nostrils, which I don't think I've quite picked up there. And again, the skin, one of the things that she was saying to me is that ever since she was a child, ever since she was a baby, that she'd always had very dry skin. And no matter what she puts on it, it was always dry. And again, she lived in a very humid. I'm not saying this is the reason for it, but it's the detail in which we're picking up and the similarities. And then the last one, now these guys sound very similar to the ones I've just mentioned, are these ones in the middle. I'm going to try and say the name properly, but remember, they don't have necessarily everyday names like us. So when they do come through, sometimes it does take 2 or 3 sittings in order to get not only the image through when they're new beings, but the
Right.
names of them as well, because they're more like sounds. A lot of the
Gotcha.
beings, their names are more like sounds. So these are the Naharis or something similar. And these guys are very much based more in the Asian. They wasn't necessarily down on Tara for very long. They kind of like came down, maybe left a little bit of their DNA, so to speak. I think they were teachers, if I remember rightly. They were very much sort of like masterful, very teacher type beings, and then they passed on their information and knowledge, and then went back again. So they were down on here for a short, very, very, very short space of time. But again, when I was looking at the client who I found this being through, and this is absolutely no word of a lie. She was a lecturer at a university. I can't make it up.
It's freaking awesome.
Yeah, and she'd been a teacher
I have
her
a
whole life.
question.
Please.
I have a question about this, though. A lot of people are very focused on ancestral healing, generational healing, inner child work. So when people start delving into their alien DNA, does working with your alien DNA, does that involve healing ancestral traumas that may have been connected to our alien lineage or galactic traumas?
Yes, I believe it does in a way, and that's a really great question, Karen. Thank you. It brings them into focus in order for us to clear. So what that is then doing is then allowing us to be able to. It's almost, the way I like to describe it is, we can then go up, see what it is, grab it, and then while we're here on this earth, be able to, in this time and space, either learn from it, cleanse it, clear it, cleanse it, clear it, and close it. Because actually, once it's then clear and closed, it's gone, it's finished. So we don't then have to, as you said, relive it. We can then heal from it.
Yeah. When I do like really big events or a full day of sessions, I'm freaking starving. When you do these and you're tapping into galactic stuff, like, what's the go-to meal? Are you starving? Because I know when it's cold, I'm cold, I get the shivers, I have something to eat, and then I'm grounded, I'm kind of back because I'm so up here during that time period that I'm working, right? So does the same thing happen for you? I think I just need to hear that somebody else eats like I do.
None of these are the real questions. These are the real questions. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't eat beforehand. Absolutely, probably similar to yourself.
I can't either.
Yeah. No,
I can't either.
Nothing beforehand, but then I know once I've finished working, then yes, the tummy comes back online. And my go-to, and oh sorry, this sounds really, really British, is tea and biscuits. Is a cup of tea and biscuits. And it has to be chocolate biscuits.
Well, I get that dark chocolate helps ground us as well too. I used to be, for the longest time, I was more like a Wendy's Baconator. It was not chocolate.
No, I do have my bit of. I don't like dark chocolate, but I do have my piece of dark chocolate before doing remote viewing. I must, that is my absolute number one, because that does help in a way. But there's
chocolate
definitely
before
always
remote viewing for me will help as well too. Or I can't necessarily eat a whole Baconator anymore. My body just goes into revolt over that. And a couple of bites though, and I'm super grounded. Or a handful of chips or something, like something that's salty or fried, and it pulls me down really fast after, for sure. Oh, you want bacon now? I'm sorry, Akwana. And honestly, ever since you said snackwana, I can't get that out of my head. So I try, but my neurodivergent brain goes everywhere. Bacon and chocolate. Yes. Yes. Shall I
Bacon
pull
and
up the
chocolate.
other image?
I know bacon and years ago I was told, and I'm not going to say who told me, was it bacon and banana.
Oh.
That was very nice. Yeah, sweet and savory. On white bread, bacon, banana, maybe a little bit of cheese. Sorry, I'm making everyone hungry, including
Beverly,
myself.
thank you for. Oh, we all are. I thank you, Akwana, for taking what I said lightheartedly, because I meant it with much love. Okay. Oh, Beverly, thank you so much. Beverly is gently reminding us that ancestors can also be off-world beings too, as we're all soul level multidimensional. And I think that's where I'm at, is rephrasing, learning to rephrase and reword to meet my level of understanding now. Does that make sense, what I just said?
Yeah, I'm the same. Yep.
So I am going to open up the other photo that you sent for us to share.
Thank you.
Because one of those images is what I saw when I was doing the in-between life thing.
Oh.
So I'm interested to see, because I'm telling you, all those weird signs were there that this is important stuff. And my mom is living too, so I'm just letting all of my family know that we are on a scientific data research mission, and I am arranging for us to, as a family, figure this out.
I love it. I love it.
My brother may be the tough sell, but I'll eventually get him on board, because I'm super curious.
Fantastic. Yeah, no, if there is, yeah, that's the one I haven't done. So I've done a mother and daughter and I think of what a son and a father booked in. But yeah, the wider family would be, a dream to go and have a look at and delve into.
And I'm sure that I can coax my daughter into it as well too.
So this was really an image that, again, this was kind of like I'm getting used to AI at the moment, and yeah, sometimes we're friends, sometimes we're not. But this one was really going back to what we were discussing at the beginning, guys. The image that you're seeing on screen at the moment is, you have felines, you have Andromedans, you have Lemurians, and you have Palladians, all kind of going and connected into this one chap. And without sort of going and repeating what we were saying earlier, it was just a visual representation to say that actually there are, we are made up of more than one. And I think it was Mary who said it was was it multidimensional mutt?
Mutt,
if
yes.
I remembered that correctly. So it was just a visual representation, if we found
so
that.
So if I bring my little hand, could you tell us about each one, or identify each one for us as I point?
said, yeah, so say it's not the best visual representation. Some of the images that I present in the reports as part of the sessions that I conduct with individuals, I said the imagery is, I must confess, is a lot better. But from the what I can see on screen here, and it's interesting that they put two felines on there. So thank you very much, guys. They were clearly there as well. So the cat type beings are certainly the felines. You've got the Andromedeans there with the very blue being there, and then the human type beings. I would then link those with the Pleiadians, the Lemurians, and indeed the Atlanteans to a point, because they're more of our humanoid type star family.
Thank you for sharing. It's so funny, all the food conversation that's happening in the chat.
I know, I'm trying not to look, because even though it's very late here in the UK, it is making me very hungry.
I understand that. Beans and toast is so good, though. Beans and toast. Agreed.
Yes, that might be a midnight snack after this, definitely.
Smushy piece. Okay, I'm just going to open this up all the way now. And being mindful of our time, because we are starting, not quite that we have to rush through, but just being mindful of where we are in our time. I would ask how people can start integrating if they haven't had the opportunity for a session. Is there a way for people to begin integrating without knowing who they're? Do we have to identify who our lineage is before we integrate, or is there a way to begin processing or integrating without knowing?
Personally, I think there's two parts to answer to that question, really. And so I think the first part, I would say that if there is a frequency and a being that feels right and aligns with you, as we were saying before, there is that free will element. So just start putting it out there to ask to start working with them, to connect with them as well. And it's just the knowing within yourself. And I think that's what all of this really, really stems from, is what is right and what feels right for you. I would then say the second part of that is absolutely, and working with all of my amazing clients, is that the feedback that I've had is having that first confirmation, as I said, has kind of given it a bypass. It's kind of like you've got to the end of the race, kind of like it's got to the end of the race before you've even started, type of thing, because you've got that confirmation already. So, and if that feels right within yourself, then you're already like 5 steps ahead.
Right.
So absolutely, with coming to a session first, I said, whether it's what I call a level 1, a level 2, a level 3. So a level 1 is, yes, that is your dominant DNA. That is the one that you can start working with. Level 2 is then when we dive in a little bit deeper to the other DNAs in there. And also, as I was mentioning, now we are starting to go a little bit deeper. Sometimes we are picking up on those ancestries and those histories as well. For example, the Andromedean client who I was mentioning earlier, where I was provided with those images of those Orion wars that she was in. And then that is where we also then start looking how to integrate and looking at it on a more one-to-one level as to what is it that you want to start working with, how we can start integrating. And then thirdly is more of a personalized way of looking at it, to see what is it that you want from this at the end of the day. So there is kind of like those 3 different levels that we can start looking at. But certainly level 1 is, what is the main frequency that I'm working with, and what other sorry, I can't think of the word, transmuted frequencies and energies and messages is it that I need right here, right now, in order to push me forward, as it were, in my journey?
I have a story to share about that.
Please.
My oldest kiddo is 32. He'll be 32 this summer, and neurodivergent. And when we were in that process of understanding where he was within the spectrum, I had tapped in and I had asked for whichever guide could give me information to help me understand what I best needed to do for him, because it had been such a long journey. We live in Canada and we had moved like 3 different provinces. We'd have to start the process all over again. It was just dreadful, and it was dreadful for him. And one of the guides that came in was an off-world being that was very, very, very tall and very, very, very light-skinned. And they showed me the DNA structure, like the model of it, but were showing me it was meshed, but I didn't understand. I thought it was something different, like that they were rearranging his DNA to help him be okay here. So then my question to them was what I needed to do to help support that. So he's always, like, from that point in me getting that piece of information, I always did energetic cord cutting and helping him ground and all of those things. Even now at 32, he understands when he's needing to do a bit of cord cutting, and he does all the grounding and stuff on his own. And he lives provinces away from me. He's I'm in Ontario and he's in Alberta. So that was my first connection with understanding DNA or working with DNA. But having met you or listening to you on other shows, understanding it was much more powerful than what I understood it to be at the time. Like,
Thank you.
it was really incorporating his alien DNA, and for me to understand what that was, and probably for me too.
Wow, thank you for sharing. That's an incredible story. And yeah, that's amazing.
And it changed. It helped him because he was off the rails in the autism spectrum and the energetics. Not that I'm telling people that they need to do all of this. I'm just saying what worked for us in our family and our personal experience. Doing the energetic work helped tremendously. Understanding those things helped tremendously.
Wonderful.
Yeah. I think the other story I would share as far as understanding or DNA in my learning curves and growth was so I've always been able to connect with people on the other side, but working as a medium full-time for 18 years now. And up until about 12 years ago, anything brain related with people coming through in spirit used to make me instantly vomit in a very ugly way. It was a horrible, horrible, horrible thing for me. And so I asked Archangel Michael to download the DNA blueprint for my healthiest body so I could process those energies differently. And it felt like being in a pool in the summertime, and I could feel it moving through my body, and you could feel when it was stuck because it felt cooler up and heavier and warmer low, until I did some energetic clearing in those places where it was stuck, and then it went all the way through, and it shifted everything. Like, I love chocolate, but I choose to eat it. I don't crave it. And I stopped craving pop. I was drinking pop every day up until I was doing that. And then I honestly don't drink pop hardly at all. The odd times some ginger ale if my tummy's off kilter and a bit wonky, but other than that, yeah. So
wow,
that was
incredible.
my other experience about 12 years ago. So this excites me a great deal, what you do and the gift of who you are and how you share that with all of us. We're also very blessed.
Thank you so much. And I mean,
Yeah,
we do go into a lot more detail in regards. I said we are starting to go into a lot more depth around, as I said, bringing those transmissions through, those light codes through. But no, thank you. That is, sorry, I'm just blown away with that story. That's incredible. And that, I think that is absolutely key, is that we can do, and we are working with all of these beings now, more directly and more succinctly than ever before. So with our free will, like you just said, with that blueprint, you asked, you were ready to receive, you trusted.
And it's something that anybody that's in the chat that has taken courses or classes from me knows that I've taught that as well too. You can ask for this so that there is more ease, because they want to work with us so we can be more of service. We can't be of service if we are uncomfortable. We won't do the work.
Yeah.
We just won't do it. We are just starting to wind down. So the best way for people to reach out to you, to learn more, to follow, where and how can they do that?
Yeah, certainly. So my website, which I've recently updated, is ascension through connection.com. So that's ascension through connection.com. That's got all my services, from the DNA to the integration, and using some light language there as well. Also my email, which is AnnetteBeckham@gmail.com. And yeah, I've got the buy me a coffee and all the social medias, which is Asria Official. So I'm getting used to all this, social media and stuff. So it's all on there. But the email and the website is the best place. And please feel free to reach out.
Yes, and open to doing more interviews. So all folks with podcasts, please, feel free to reach out to Asria so that we can spread this word and spread the magic of who you are and the work that you are doing. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you, everybody that is in the chat. I just love, I'm sorry that I couldn't keep up. Thank you so much for the compliments, everybody, for the show and your love and support for both Asria and myself. We appreciate you. So thank you everybody in the chat. Very grateful. This was fabulous. Thank you so much.
It's been wonderful. Thank you.
Oh, anytime. I'm going to talk to my family tonight. I'm not even giving them the option. We're going to say, this is what we're doing as a family, and for data research, this is happening. And then we'll come back and we'll do another show, and we will discuss.
I can't wait.
I was going to say the weirdness, but weirdness said with much love of my family.
I understand. I'm so excited. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe Montado and Michelle DeRoche, for all the things that you do for us here and our UPRN family. Thank you to the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 in the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in beautiful New Orleans. I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend doing all the things that you do. I hope you all have grace and ease and much laughter to your week. And we will see you back here. Actually, Laura Lee and I have a show that we started on Thursday evenings at 7 p.m. called Beneath the Hollow Moon. So we will see you hopefully Thursday on Beneath the Hollow Moon. Laura Lee has her show, The Angel Rock, on Mondays at 6 p.m. And I will see you back here next week at 6 p.m. Eastern as well, too. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.